Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season 3. We're doing the good stuff. This auto mall, man. I just like hanging out here. We should pave it, by the way. Speaking of paving, I would like to research at some point floor tiles stage 2, and I think I want to make a bunch of Nexilate tiles. They're really expensive. I mean, I say really expensive. It's not that bad in this day and age, but one Nexilate plate per 2 tiles is pretty high. So you can only make them at a certain rate, but I do want to start building those up, and I think we can at least look into maybe steel tiles. Could look cool in some places. I don't know about iron organic solvent for tiles. Are you kidding me? It's just like hilariously punishing to make these different tiles. But yeah, I think I do want to figure out at some point here in the Pi2 science world how to pave the whole world, not just my original base. Like, I want there to be paving at least around the edges of my rail blocks. And I don't know, I think I want to have some sort of pattern maybe where I put like maybe asphalt under, you know, like I'm thinking like asphalt like here, and then the rest could be, you know, like limestone around it for, you know, 5 or 10 tiles, and then that could be kind of a pattern. And so then at least I have a little bit of like a thing, and I'm okay with maybe a little bit of the middle of blocks being unpaved, because that feels a little bit wasteful right now, and the logistics bots don't even cover it unless I build extra stuff inside the blocks. So that's at least my current thought on tiles, but that's a pretty low priority. We are working on... What are we working on? You'd think I'd remember. Again, I do apologize if I seem a little scatterbrained. My life is... it's in a little bit of shambles right now, so thank you for your patience. We are still enjoying pyanodons, and, you know, I thank you for all the comments you've made, both on Discord and, you know, in the YouTube comments. Like, I appreciate you guys saying, like, take all the time you need, real life is more important, and I agree, but there's some amount of, like, doing, you know, still doing normal things when you can, even in the midst of emergencies and chaos, is often a good idea, because it helps bring some normalcy to my day in the midst of the craziness. So that's why I'm still doing these videos. And also because I want to. Like, I really freaking am loving pyanodons right now. There's a lot of me that is like, I just want to play like pyanodons 8 hours a day if I could, but I can't right now. So anyway, we are waiting on research, which is waiting on rubber, but rubber is being produced. So, well, I say that, and now it just stopped for like 3 minutes straight. Wait, did I break it with the change? I know I changed something over here, but I thought I fixed it, not broke it. Oh, I'm dumb. I needed to do that. I did break it. Yeah, I made it so that all the... Well, honestly, no, I mean... Are these a top-up on creosote? No, they weren't a top-up on creosote is the problem. So creosote was being divvied up 50-50. So what we need is this guy to only be enabled if creosote is less than 10,000 maybe. And then I should be able to keep that. Okay, that should work out actually. Anyway, where actually were we in the rubber process? We were about to start the tar processing, is that right? Are we all the way there already? We are. Wow, that's a cool feeling. And we said we were gonna do that up here, and that seems reasonable, given there's 3 bitumen seeps in this block alone. So this feels like a reasonable tar block to me. So we will do strong side connections here, bloop, and then another straight connector, and I will probably rearrange that one so we can actually get to that bitumen seep. And I'm just gonna go ahead and build in the full block for this one. Okay, and then we're gonna need a drilling fluid setup, which did I blueprint that? I don't remember if I did or not. I don't think I did. I'll just make a new one. Okay, so that guy needs not a natural gas derrick. I do not want natural gas. I want... Well, let's see. Can I just add my personal logistics tar extractor? 3. We don't have any, do we? Yeah, I was worried about that. Let's add those in here. Tar extractor. Natural gas derrick. And what's the other one called? Crude oil. Probably just oil. Oil derrick, oil extractor. Yeah, oil derrick. Okay, so we'll get those added into the list. And then those should arrive in my inventory eventually. And then for the drilling fluid, that is made... I don't think it's worth working on drilling fluid 2 yet. We could. It's not that crazy. Oh, wait, it's Kimsai? Oh, never mind. They've moved it. It used to be sooner than that, because you could make guar and stuff. Yeah, we can make guar soon, but I guess drilling fluid's further away. Okay, never mind. Well, drilling fluid 1 it is, which is just sand, soil, clay. So we need a mixer. We need a soil extractor. A mixer. And that one's gonna make the drilling fluid. And then the sand is gonna come from a washer. And then the clay is gonna come from a clay pit over here. I'm just trying to think of how to arrange all this. And then, so soil washing. Muddy sludge needs to get sinkholed. Like that. The water for these guys can be there. And then we need a boiler somewhere. Move those so we can fit this guy like here. And then that way we can do the water. Let's see, like this. So there's water, that's the clay direct input, that's the soil direct input, this is the sand at up to like 2-ish a second. So we'll put some inserters there. We'll get everything powered up here. Okay. And then that whole thing can provide drilling fluid to say like that. Okay, so that is our drilling fluid situation. Oh wait, one more thing. We need the water. Sorry, I had to sneeze. We need the water here. Water in. Water in. That water not selected. Oh, and one more water in. Whoops. There we go. And is 300 water enough for all that? Technically, no. But I think yes. This is where production rates calc extreme is actually going to help. Yeah, it is enough. 0.98. Perfect. Okay, so now we copy that and name it drilling fluid 1 ZI 0 input. Create blueprint. Chuck that into here. And then we need to actually manually put a tar extractor here. And yeah, I mean, I kind of screwed up by just putting that wherever. That was my bad. So we'll do that, and then we'll get this hooked up. Okay, why did I require to do it manually? I guess because the bots may not be able to build where I'm looking. So let's drive up there myself. Fine, I'll do it myself. Oh, I'm so excited to have infinite rubber. It's gonna be so nice. Alright, so there's that, and then I was worried about that. The fluid inputs are in a different spot. Okay. That's fine. Let's do it this way. Okay, so there's that. And then make sure power is hooked up here. So that'll work. And then we'll drive up to the other ones. Now I know this is more tar than we need, but I'm okay with that. I just want to get it all plugged in. Well, do I want these to all be tar when I only need 85 tar a second? You know what? No, never mind. We'll get those unlocked when we need them. What if I want those to be crude oil later? And by the time I need those, maybe I'll have drilling fluid too, and I can get twice as much. Because I know I've said this is basically infinite once it gets unlocked. And that is true, but there might come a late stage in the game where, like, I've got a Mark III tar extractor. It's got speed modules or whatever, and we've got, you know, we've got a bunch of beacons, and it's mining like 12 times as fast as it was before. Even then, it might still have like 100 or 200 hours in it, but that actually theoretically could run out. We're talking like still kind of crazy though. But even then, we're talking like by the time you have Mark II drilling fluid and a Mark II building, now it's probably infinite no matter how long it takes you to beat pi. So it really is absurd how much they give you here. Okay, well that'll start running and eventually get us what we want here. And I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of those. Okay, so our tar build is pretty simple. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing fancy we need to do here. $23. How much steam does that make? Heat capacity is 2100, so each unit of steam 2 kilojoule per degree, so it's about 235. I think the math works out to it is around 250 kilojoules per unit of steam, right? Wait, or about 500. Yeah, 500. Sorry. Because it's 235 degrees of difference between default temperature and this one. And it's 2.1. I mean, we've got a calculator right here. What's 2.1 times 235? Yeah, 493. So almost exactly. So that means 1 unit of light oil will make 2 units of steam at 100% efficiency. But oil burners, I might note, are 200% efficiency. oiled burners. How about oiler boilers? Oil burners, though. Yeah, you can see they use 14 megawatts, but they make 60 units of steam. When really 60 units of steam should cost around 30 megawatts. So all that I'm trying to get at is this light oil, which is 23, we'll call it, after the reduction, about 20 megawatts, would produce not enough steam, but it will help offset the cost. So I might just use that light oil instead of doing anything else with it. And we could even use the hydrogen, though we're talking like a couple units of steam from the hydrogen. But it's free. Cheaper than, I mean, better than venting it, as long as we have a buffer for it and we use fully the light oil and the hydrogen. What's even better is we could use the coke. Now, the coke will not be double efficiency in a regular boiler. So that would result in, but that's like 50 megajoules, which would produce 100 or 1,000. Wait, 1 megawatt produces 2 units of steam a second. So 50 would make about 100 steam a second, but it'll make less than that because of the boiler efficiency. Or no. The boiler efficiency is 100%. It's the steam engine efficiency that's 50. Yeah. And the oil one gives you twice as much as it should. So instead of giving you 40, it's going to give me about 80 units from this. Yeah, that's correct. So we'll get about 80 units from that, and we could get about 100 units from that, and we need about 200 units. So we could potentially fuel this with our own stuff, particularly if we were to use the naphthalene, but then that's losing creosote. I don't know. We'll use an electric boiler for the rest, if it's not enough. I should probably do the math, to be honest. Because if it's too much, we're gonna end up backing up on one of these. And I don't really need the coke. Though I think coke for the base is more important than coke. Yeah, hold on. I'm having second thoughts. So why don't we turn one of these? Well, are we gonna need a super trasher? No, there's no solid outputs other than coke. So let's turn one of these into a trasher. So let me do like that, and then this, and then call it coke. So we'll just trash the coke, because it's actually more efficient. I think I've mentioned this before. Is there a way to only deconstruct? I mean, I guess there is. We just need to do it this way. Ghost entities. I can just do that. That's a clean way anyway. Let me actually pull it up. Wait, what? Does that not scroll through the decon planers? Oh, interesting, it doesn't. Oh, so you can store them in there, but it won't scroll through them. Now that's really interesting. Anyway, all that to say, I already know we're gonna need another one of these, you know, out here. And so input-wise, we're gonna need nothing for the tar. That's gonna be producing carbon black. Carbon black is used in multiple locations, or pretty much just this? Pretty much just this. So we're just gonna use it locally. That's why we're doing it this way. And then other input-wise, we're gonna have quite a few. I think we're gonna have seaweed. We're gonna have sap. Guess that's it. Oh, and stone. I don't know why I missed the stone. Okay, so requester wise, I think we'll do a triple then. And that's our solids requester for seaweed, sap, and stone. And then fluids, we need... I don't think we're gonna need hot steam. We're gonna need ammonia, CO2. Methanol, we only need an initial shipment of. So what I might do, if I can finagle it correctly, is request methanol first and then cancel it once we have it and then pump it into a different tank system. And then we can switch over to like aromatics. Or sulfuric or solvent. Because we have a lot of... Oh, we also need titanium. I missed that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fluids that we need. Is that it? Knowing that it's 4. Part of me wants to make the CO2 with Coke. How much do we get from 1 Coke? 40 a piece. So that would be 5 Coke a second. To not need to request CO2. I'm kind of tempted by that, to be honest. Locally sourced Coke. Free range chickens. But it's 5 seconds to make 80, which means I make only 16 a second. Oh, that's the problem, though. I would need like 12 high pressure furnaces. Okay, never mind. I don't want to do it that way anymore. It's just really slow is the problem. Okay. Funnily enough, I can get CO2 and aromatics from tar. If we wanted to add those in for free. But that would actually be a lot of tar. Okay, anyway. So how many fluid requesters do we need? I guess we need 2 then. It's a little unfortunate because I only need 4 fluids, so there's a part of me that's like, can I somehow make this work? But we just don't have it set up where the pumps are wide. I would have to make a whole new fluid situation. So for now, we'll just do methanol, because that's the one we want to cancel as soon as we get it. And then we'll make a second one here. And then we're gonna have sap, seaweed, stone, titanium. That's it for that. Okay, perfect. We're gonna need a provider, which is down here. No, that's our trasher, so we still need the rubber provider. So there's the rubber provider. And we're gonna need a creosote provider. And oh shoot, I wish I had written it down. What did I decide about organic solvent? How many times has Krydax figured the same thing out twice? More times than he would like to count. Okay, so what did I decide I was gonna do about the organic solvent? From middle oil, that is. I knew I wanted to supplement, but do I care more about creosote or orgsolve? I think I care more about creosote, because we just set up a whole nother path to orgsolve, and we get a whole nother path to orgsolve once we make acetone from phenol, or cumene, I mean. But cumene, the problem is the good cumene recipe. Wait. No, wait, we already have it. Wait, I'm so confused. No. No, sorry, wait. When do we get that recipe? Maybe that one's chem science. Cumene to phenol and acetone is chem science. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Anyway, but that'll be yet another point at which organic solvent actually gets easier. So for now, we want all of the middle oil in this block to go towards making creosote first, and then if we back up on creosote, then we can end up turning the rest into organic solvent. So then one thing I want to look at is with creosote, what can it turn into? Is there like a byproduct that I could just make tons of if I just had extra creosote? And the answer is not really. Technically, you could turn wood into treated wood to increase its fuel value if you were using wood as a biofuel, but we've already talked about that. I don't think that's that efficient compared to our other options. So, because it's just a lot of creosote. Like in terms of megajoules, what are you actually doing here? You're turning 100 creosote into a total of, because one wood is 2 megajoules, right? Yeah. So you're getting 6 megajoules excess from 100 creosote. So 100 creosote is only 6 megajoules, which means 16 creosote is 1 megajoule, which means each creosote is only 0.06, I think. Yeah, like 0.06. So 60 kilojoules. I mean, that's like hydrogen levels of fuel. Hydrogen has a higher fuel value than that. So, and I know solid and liquid fuel values aren't perfectly interchangeable, but yeah, I think the treated wood idea is only good in the early game when you've got loads of creosote and nothing to do with it. And I think it's even less of a problem ever since they added the anthracene recipe to make Coke and gasoline. I think ever since they added that one, I think it's a trap to make, because it used to be all your anthracene would just turn into creosote as well, and then you had loads of creosote, and at that point, yeah, you should make some treated wood. But now all your anthracene's going here, which is way better, and at that point, you know, you do have excess creosote, but not like loads and loads, because anthracene was a big part of your creosote production before they added that Coke and gasoline recipe. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's actually start building this thing. I just wanted to figure out what kind of trasher I need for creosote, and I think I just need the normal kind, because there's only going to be one fluid that we're trashing here, which is creosote. And naphthalene, forgive me, I have to look at this one more time. What is that? Naphthalene can make Coke and aromatics? Missed that. I don't think it's very good, and I'm already getting huge amounts of aromatics from tailings and other sources. Aromatics is easy to make. If we want more aromatics, we have multiple ways to do it. We can also do light oil. So light oil and coal water slurry, and we can even do tall oil, though I think that's worse than just light oil by itself. Yeah, we can also just do tar, and then we get light oil, which also goes to aromatics. So tar can kind of turn to mostly aromatics as well. So there's no reason to do this recipe unless you're dire for the Coke, I think, which we're not. And that's the other one we're gonna do. And then what's this? That requires vanadium pentoxide, but it's worth pointing out that we're gonna need this by Kimsai, which means I should provide the naphthalene and then use the rest to make creosote, and then use the rest plus the carbolic we get from this recipe. Oh, we're also gonna get more light oil from that. I forgot, middle oil represents 50% light oil as well. So we are gonna end up with extra light oil then, is that right? Another 12 units of light oil. I guess that just means less Coke that I end up burning. Do we have a final trasher for Coke though? This is gonna be a problem. We don't. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Anyway, I'm just trying to decide if I need a fluid super trasher. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to do with all of this. Is, do I need a fluid super trasher? And I think the answer is no. We're gonna do a fluid provider for creosote and naphthalene. And maybe light oil. And maybe pitch. but I don't think so. And we're also making polybutadiene in here. Is there a world where I need to do something else with that? No, it only goes to rubber. Okay, perfect. So I think that decides it. We only need one fluid provider in the block. And it's gonna be for creosote and potentially light oil. I haven't decided on that yet. And what was the other thing? Already lost it. Oh, naphthalene, what we were saying. Because eventually we're gonna need that for the vanadium pentoxide. That'll go there. This one's gonna need extras. Get those plugged in. Oh wait, I thought that was in the right spot. Guess not. There we go. Okay, and then we gotta wire those up. Ah, no path indeed. Anyway, we can delete the methanol request now and change that filter out. And now we've got our starting methanol, so that's great. Let's get our initial DDCs going here. Wait, why is this not running? Ah. Dagnabbit. Always forget something. About the blueprint. Filling fluid, new contents. Yeah, no, that was fine. Okay. Anyway, so tar. I feel like we should put these on this side actually, because they definitely will fit in the weak side here. These have a solid output though, so let's put these ones on the closer side. And we need 6. And as far as arrangement, we're definitely gonna need the space. Yeah, this is about right. So then those can be connected like vertically. And then we've got pairs that do this. And by the way, that one's the different one. We need a third here. Doesn't look all that different. Steam's in 2 places, so I don't need to worry about that. And then the light oil. So there's that, and then these guys can go inline. And then finally, that one. Okay, so that's that, and then we can actually put that one up close because we're grabbing from the middle of the other 2, so that saves us a couple tiles. Okay, so there's that. Coke output is at most 2 per second. So we'll get that on a belt. Going this way. Get that dialed in. Like we already said, that Coke is going down to here. Down, down, and really around. Sugar, we're going down, swinging. That just took me back to high school. All right. And let's not do a squiggle belt. I don't know what came over me. We don't do squiggle belts here. We don't do that here. There we go. Okay. I think that's good for those. And then these just move around more fluids, and we need 4.26 of them. We should have had the steam on the same line. That would have been simplistic. Got 4 outputs. 5 spaces? Wow. And these are big chonkers, aren't they? Okay. So there's at least the buildings. There's gonna be a lot of fluid connections to manage here. And how many oil burners for both? 120 plus 86 is rounding up on both, and that's 206, which should be done by 4 oil burners, which I can fit down here. Assuming there's enough burnables, which there might not be. And so then we'll have top up from these guys. So we'll top up directly into that steam network. So there's the steam. I do want to be a little bit more careful with all this. Okay, T-junction for steam. Don't know what I'm doing with the tar yet. There's steam from that side. I think we'll just have that squiggle over into a T-junction here. Okay. Get these hooked up. But then again, we've got so many end caps that we need here. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Wait, I already did all those. Okay, and then I don't know if we need all the end caps on the bottom, but maybe just in case we do. I don't want one for that steam. Might want one for the light oil. Don't want one for that steam. I might want one for the tar. We'll start with that. It's easier to replace later than to screw it up and forget now. So that's that, and then water-wise, 1 pump jack should be good for all this. Because 300 steam is more than enough, so 300 water is more than enough. And how are those? Okay, and we'll just top up to 20%. And we will make a small buffer in the steam network here. Okay, so that's done. And now we want to pipe the let's see. I have ideas. So here's the hydrogen and the light oil, and that gets pumped into this network. They both get pumped into this network. Boom. Boom. Okay. So that all gets burned. And then we need power for these guys. Connection, lamps. Okay. So there's some initial pieces going. This is running now. And merge this. Delete these guys. This is Coke from tar rubber. This requester needs all sorts of things. We'll get to that in a minute. So the middle oil to tar refining tops. Is going to be about 1 tar processing unit. Is that right? No. Maybe. Oh no. 25.64? Are you kidding me? No. Say it ain't so. I really need 2 facilities for this to get rid of all the middle oil. Otherwise, yeah, and it's purely anthracene. And now we didn't get the ratios exactly correct here, right? Isn't there? No, I actually am slightly under providing pitch, so it's even slightly worse than that. Okay. So we need 2 of those buildings, unfortunately, which means more steam. But we do get some light oil out, and then we get more naphthalene and carbolic. So carbolic will be the limit. So maybe we can burn naphthalene as well to support steam production. We also get cold steam out from our polybutadiene. I ignored that or forgot that. So we may want to provide that. Oh, but we need cold steam for latex, so we don't get quite as much as it looks like. And that's a closed loop. The latex always gets used along with the polybutadiene. So we never have to worry about like one of those back, you know, we will have 200 extra, but like we will always have the steam we need for this from this, as long as we buffer it properly. So that's good. Anyway, we need 2 more tar buildings. And the problem is I want to leave a lot of space here. This might look like too much space, but tar refining tops. And then we'll just have to figure out how to connect all that. Because so the light oil, we can just connect back into this light oil. I mean, for the most part, we just connect everything that's connected. That's the same fluid, you know, the middle oil just goes over and up. So there's middle oil, and that one needs to go up. And then we're outputting creosote. That's its own thing that will go over to one of our providers. It's this one, apparently. Look like this is creosote. Right here. Perfect. Okay, and then let's get another bot builder. All right, and then steam we need to be attached. So steam can come over down here. Connect. The shorter chain is naphthalene, and the longer chain is anthracene. And this one makes naphthalene, which is the shorter chain. So that gets added in to the shorter chain of this one, which is this. So there's that connection. These both make anthracene, and that's the one that goes to the actual rubber production, the carbon black. And then the light oil needs to be connected as well. So that could be over here. So there's light oil connection. Oh, there's two light oils. I'm a dingus. Okay, we can remove these. I was not paying attention. All right, so light oil is connected. Carbolic is the one that's not connected. There's no carbolic from any of these, so it's the only carbolic. And then the carbolic to OrgSolve is 1 DDC, and we can consume 10 carbolic a second, so I need 2 DDCs for that. So we need 2 DDCs for the potential OrgSolve that we can make here. But first we need creosote making for all of this. Which, how much more space realistically might I need? I think if I start building over here, this is gonna be fine for creosote making. And anthracene we would never turn into creosote because the anthracene is being produced in the first place to make carbon black. So that is purely, so we're not doing anthracene to creosote, but we will be doing carbolic and naphthalene both to creosote. Naphthalene we are getting up to 50, carbolic we're getting up to 12.5. So naphthalene to creosote, we need 2 of these. And is 50 the exact number? 50 is actually a little bit of an underestimate. So 50 should be fine. And then carbolic is also 25 a second. So that should be fine. So then this is our creosote outputs. And all of those are the same priority. And that's the same priority as just the default creosote. So all of that creosote will go to the same place, which is here. So this is creosote. And that will come up here. Okay. And then these guys are the ones that are gonna do, wait, what are these gonna do? Are these for the OrgSolve? I think I made these for the OrgSolve. Yes, that's what that was. So then that's going to be overflow of carbolic yeah, that's a little tricky to get set up, but we'll get there eventually. Okay, hold on. So middle oil. So we need the carbolic, and long chain is anthracene, so we're ignoring that. That's just part of the rubber build. Right now I'm trying to get all this tar nonsense worked out. So this is the naphthalene right here. So then that's the one that goes to creosote first, actually. So that's here. So that's creosote now. Naphthalene goes to creosote, but then when creosote's jammed up, we want to overflow. I think it's pretty easy to just set this up with like a sideways like that. So then the overflow can be here like this. So when it overflows, it'll go make org solve. Now, org solve could back up too, or could it? No, because we're gonna use it at high priority. And I'm pretty sure there's no way that org solve could back up. But the ratio of naphthalene to carbolic's not correct, so carbolic won't back up, but I think naphthalene will. Or no, maybe carbolic will back up. Yeah, because we're making more carbolic than we need for the naphthalene that we'll have. Is that right? 100, we need about 1/5. Actually, it's pretty close. It's 1/4 right now, which is slightly more carbolic than we need. Yeah. So we'll have a little bit too much carbolic that we can burn as well as we make org solve. And then if org solve backs up, now we need to burn naphthalene and carbolic. Yeah. So then so things are looking good. So hold on, we've got our overflow of naphthalene set up to turn into org solve. Now that should work fine because these are processing more naphthalene per second than I could ever make. So it should only be capable of overflowing if the creosote's backed up. So I don't actually need to like wire anything up. And weirdly enough, I don't need to worry about the carbolic. The carbolic can actually just be hooked straight in to these guys. Because I guess it needs to be down here. And the reason that's fine is because it's a 2-ingredient recipe. So if one of them's limited on overflow, that can only happen when creosote's backed up, then that means we won't be consuming the carbolic unless creosote's backed up. I mean, the buildings will fill up their buffers, but that's it. So then we should be able to set up an overflow from both of those now. So I guess this needs to be an overflow pump situation now that I think about it. That's a little stickier, isn't it? So that we can have another overflow situation. All right, just bear with me here. It's not as clean, but now we can have another overflow that will burn the rest, and that's naphthalene. And then we need the same for carbolic. We need an overflow that burns the rest. Okay, so now we're overflowing carbolic. I am gonna let carbolic buffer a little bit there. And we should probably let naphthalene buffer a little bit. And now this is my fueling the oil burner system. So this is added in. Ah, shucks. It's added into these guys. Okay. So those should burn up now. Excess carbolic and naphthalene 2 is what we just accomplished with that. At least I think that's what I just accomplished. And we're already at 54 minutes. Wow, this is a complex build. I feel like we're just getting started with it. Also need some lamps up there. Oh, and we need bots up here. Definitely. All right, and then, so now we've handled, and light oil's just connected, right? Oop, wrong hotkey. The light oil is just connected up, and that's connected up to here. Perfect. Okay, so the light oil will get pumped in and burned. So, oops. So then we've dealt with middle oil cracking. We've dealt with carbolic and naphthalene, and they're going to creosote first. But then, after creosote, they're going to orgsolve. And then if orgsolve isn't consuming it, then that overflows into, whatchamacallit? Into oil burner mode. So that all, I think, is correct. Hydrogen and light oil from this are directly getting oil burned. The naphthalene, is that correctly hooked up to this naphthalene, which is correctly hooked up to creosote first, but then overflow? Yeah, it's all correct. I think we're done then. Pitch is not hooked up, I guess. That's an easy one to fix. I actually think the solution here is going to be a straight inline backwards pipe here and a T-junction here, and we call it a day. Okay. And the tar's almost there. Another 10 minutes maybe. Creosote's actually hooked up, right, to the tank, yeah. I think we did it. The exception of voiding the coke. If we look at coke consumption, it's been pretty consistent. I mean, we're consuming 10 a second right now, so we'll set an alarm on this. I think that's the way to do it. I'm hopeful that this can just get rid of all the coke. That our base will just consume enough. But coke stacks to 100? 200? 100. So 14K would make this full. So if it's greater than, let's say, 10,000, then we probably have an issue. Show alert. Coke. All right. I wish you could show two symbols at once, like Coke plus a trash icon. Because, like, that's a very different alert than, like, I'm out of Coke, help, I need Coke. It's more just like, help, we have too much Coke, you need to get rid of it. Those are different things. Anyway, I'm hopeful the Steam situation is the one I still have a question mark about. And do I actually need another one? Because that needs Steam. And this only makes 240 at most. No, that should be fine. Well, the problem is the consumption rates might be off. So it might not be fine, actually. So I'm gonna add one more in here. Which, of course that makes it just one tile off. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Alright, we'll just put that there. And as far as that, 120 should be more than enough to make up for whatever I'm not making with the fluids. It's possible I'm wrong about that. But didn't we already do the math on this light oil alone makes... How much does that make? 4 units a piece. So that's 92 steam right there. Plus another 12. It's like 150 steam from the light oil alone. And then when you factor in, you know, it's another like 4 or 5 units of steam from the hydrogen. We need like 200 and 225 now. Yeah, 235. There's a world where I'm slightly running out of steam, even with those running. So I should probably add a third one. Because these are the just in cases anyway. So that just guarantees we won't have steam problems. That's all that's doing. And yeah, in the next episode, we'll get the tar plugged in, and I think we did it. Let me finish up with capping off all the underground connections that are naughty. Naughty connections that could break our base later. That one. Oh, we didn't hook up carbolic. Sorry, I had to sneeze again. The carbolic... Actually, I'm going to leave that one as is. And then it can go over, up, over, and in. Okay. Right. Perfect. Okay, I mean, there's probably a mistake in there somewhere, but I'm pretty happy with that. And we're gonna have to call that an episode. In the next one, we'll get the tar running, and we'll start building the actual rubber part of this build. But yeah, that tar processing, man, there's a part of me that's like, maybe I should have made an even bigger tar processing block, but I've already got this one that we can always update a little bit if we need to. It just doesn't feel like I need to worry about that. Because now we'll have even more creosote, and the only other thing this makes is stuff we're already making. This is mostly for creosote and carbon black, are the main 2 reasons you need tar. Because aromatics, gasoline, and coke can all be made other ways. I guess pitch if you were using it for huge amounts of asphalt, or that's how you made stone bricks or something. But otherwise, this is all just for creosote and anthracene, which is carbon black. We will need some anthracene for upgrading our trees. But, yeah. Everything else is made other ways, so I think we'll be fine. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.